Zachary Levi. Zachary Levi. Mr. Shazam. I thought you'd learn. Didn't you learn your lesson? When you said the Snyder Cut doesn't exist, you didn't learn your lesson. So, yo, what is freaking good YouTube bullshit here? If you are new around, make sure to subscribe to never miss any of the Marvel DC pop culture based content that we do on this channel. So guys, let me know, why did the DC universe fail? Because it clearly is not the reason that Zachary Levi said. And also, it's worth saying, War Stew Insert Picture, I've met Zachary Levi. He's a very pleasant, humble, cool guy in real life, just on the internet. He always seems to attack the SnyderVerse for literally no reason. So, you could check us out on Instagram at War Stew to see the beautiful face behind the beautiful voice. You could check us out on Twitter, WarStewJ, because I've got like 12 followers on there. That would be cool. So, depending on how I edit the video, I will either insert the clip now.
I have no idea what's ultimately going to happen to me. I think I'm in a pretty good position. I think we made a great movie. I think it's going to do well, reasonably well. I hope so. But again, regardless of that, if they decide at some point that, hey, this is the way we got to go, I mean, them, you know, them's the breaks. That's how it goes. And I hope that people enjoyed. At whatever point I finish playing the role of Shazam, I hope people enjoyed my tenure playing the role and that they come with me to whatever else I get to go and do. That's it, okay? So I don't want to... It's hard for me to see all these random comments and like basically lies and things that people are throwing around online and not want to respond. Because I hate lies, I hate deceit, I hate injustice so much. And so I want to set records straight. By the way, so does James. He's been doing this for a long time. That's why he's so active on Twitter, because he really wants people to know what's up truly and wanting to set records straight. And so it's, you know, that's why you'll see action from me or him or other people coming to defense. It's not because we want to get tied up in some random argument with an internet troll. It's because we're trying to help cut through all of this random, you know, deceitful banter that just keeps going around and around, because a lot of people who are very good, kind people who really like Shazam or these other things are getting worried, like, oh, is this all falling apart? Is this all going away? Everyone just take a breath. I know we've seen some characters, some actors that are taking an exit, and I know that's difficult. That's difficult for even me. You know what I mean? I was hoping I got to work with a lot of these folks, but it's just not the way it's going to go down right now. And I think you all need to, whoever out there is still like all drummed up and pissed off, like just trust that James is so, look, if you haven't watched what he did with Guardians, which was a total niche property that he actually brought really awesome life to, and his reboot of Suicide Squad that was better than the first one, he really made something incredible there. He understands comic books, guys. He understands world building. He understands how to do right by the canon and also by the characters and also by the audience. And Peter's there to be he's an incredible diplomat and business person. I've worked with him now for years. Just breathe. It's going to be okay. It's going to be better than okay.
When Zachary Levi's going on the huge rant defending James Gunn and Pete Safran, the new DC heads. Zach, I still think you're going to get replaced though. It's cute what you done. I still think you're going to get replaced. So he went on a huge rant defending James Gunn and Pete Safran, who are the new top brasses at DC Studios. Levi is a fairly recent addition to the franchise, appearing in Shazam 1 in 2019, and your movie barely broke even. Barely broke even. Now, don't get me wrong, guys. I really like the Shazam movie. It's such a cute, cool movie. Had ties to Superman. Could have ended up in a Justice League one day, but you made a mistake. You made a mistake. No, I get it. It's cool to come out and defend James Gunn and Pete Safran, but I get it, Pete Safran is your producer of Shazam 2. I get it, I've met him as well. Really nice guy. I actually really like Pete Safran. He's such a cool guy. But you really had to attack the Snyderverse. Because if we're going to talk box office, if we're going to talk what actually made money, Zack Snyder-based movies, excluding the Elseworld Joker movie, actually made more money than most of the movies post Zack Snyder getting kicked off his project because of a family tragedy that he didn't get the chance to release his Zack Snyder Justice League movie, so they released a Justice League version, which still did better than most movies post Zack Snyder, which, yeah, you're gonna say, it's the pandemic. All right, it's the pandemic. Yeah, that's cute. That's cute. Spider-Man No Way Home. It was a fluke. Top Gun Maverick. Avatar 2 has smashed $1 billion in literally 2 weeks. So, when we look at numbers for movies, just remember the reason why he said the DC failed. You have no idea the reason behind any of the decisions that's going on. I get it. We don't know what's going on. But the problem is, James Gunn keeps speaking and keeps saying stuff without giving context. If he's got a plan, just stop tweeting, lad, until you're ready to drop everything. The amount of conjecture and rumor mill and drama and nonsense that keeps going around, keeps getting spun around out there on Instagram and Twitter, it's laughable. Like this comment is laughable. It is unbelievably laughable. So I just want to say, be patient and give them some space, some time to try and really make something special. Now, lad, this is where you made your mistake. And it's worth noting, I'm not attacking him. It's just factually what you've said is wrong. I think something that DC deserves to have, something Zack tried to do, and it just didn't ultimately materialize. Okay, so studios base movies on how much money they financially make. They do. That's their main metric. Critics score and how much money did the movie frickin' make. Interesting. So let's have a look at some so-called SnyderVerse flops. So Aquaman 2018, 1.1 billion. Now casted by Zack Snyder himself in the same universe. It's a SnyderVerse-based movie. So it was continuing the continuity set up by Zack. Massive flop. Oh wait, it's the biggest DCEU movie ever. Okay, cool. Let's go down. BVS, $860 million. Okay, sure. Any movie with Batman and Superman should bang over $1 billion. I agree. I really do agree. But the studio got involved because they had to release a director's cut. So the real reason why the death of the DCU or the death of the Snyderverse is the Snyderverse would have done 10 times better had Zack released the director's cut, because even critics, even YouTubers, etc., all said the director's cut was much better. But you just said it didn't materialize, it didn't work. The Snyderverse was essentially the failure of the DCEU. Well, so far, no. Wonder Woman 2017, $820 million. Now, Zack Snyder worked on that project alongside Patty Jack. Another flop. Oh, wait, this is not, we haven't got to one single flop. Now, what's funny is, if in that video clip, he went on to say how the rebooted Suicide Squad movie did so much better than David Ayer cut. So, Suicide Squad 2016, $746 million. Okay, bottom line, box office numbers. Now let's flick down to The Suicide Squad by James Gunn, and I actually like that movie that came out in 2021. Warner Bros. Pictures UK invited me to the red carpet event, the premiere. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. It was a very cool event. The Suicide Squad 2021. $167 million. Now, you could say, oh, it underperformed. It underperformed because of the pandemic. Nonsense. Absolute freaking nonsense. So, Zack Snyder's DCEU didn't materialize because it just wasn't there. Let's get the direct quote again. I think something that DC deserves to have, something Snyder tried, and it just didn't ultimately materialize. Okay, so far, the numbers are talking. And so far, it's literally every project not related to Zack Snyder that failed. Man of Steel, remember, this is in 2013, first time of Henry Cavill Superman appearing, $668 million. Not a flop. Justice League Sweden cut, $650 million. Technically, you could say that flopped. Why? Because you changed the whole story. You kept dictating a bunch of stuff. So far, Zachary Levi's agenda is not really sticking up. Now, Shazam. $360 million. Yeah, flop. Okay, it's not a flop. They shot in Vancouver, Canada. Much lower production costs. So, technically, it broke even somewhat. I mean, I got invited to the UK premiere for this as well. Appreciate it. Really liked it. But when someone's going to come out and say the Snyderverse is to blame for the failure of the DC Extended Universe, no, it's really the movies that Zack wasn't attached to. Zack wasn't attached to this. Zack wasn't really attached to Birds of Prey. $201 million. The budget of $100 million. Birds of Prey 2020, flop. Okay, Suicide Squad 2021, $160 million, flop. Wonder Woman 1984, $160 million. And yeah, they're gonna use the excuse that it was HBO Max day and day release, so it's Mortal Kombat. So was Godzilla vs. Kong that took in just over 500 million. Wonder Woman had a production cost of 200 million, which means even with the streaming revenue it would have got, it still lost money. This lovely narrative that Snyder's universe just didn't work. And to play devil's advocate, you could say The Batman made over $600 million with Matt Reeves. It wasn't part of a canon. It wasn't part of a continued universe. It was an Elseworld story. So as I said, everything post Zack Snyder has flopped. The Joker, Elseworld. Batman, Elseworld. Black Adam, flopped. Had nothing to do with Snyder. Absolutely freaking flopped. So the audacity of someone to come out and say, yeah, Snyder ruined the universe. No, realistically, had they waited for Zack to come back after a family tragedy, sometime they could have pushed the movie back if they really wanted to. The Snyderverse would have done very well. It really would. Not every movie needs to bang $1 billion. And let's be honest, the most recent movies, Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, Shazam, Black Adam, nowhere near doing Zack Snyder numbers. Man of Steel 600. I mean, it should have done better for a Superman movie, but nowhere near the numbers. So, Zachary Levi, I get what you're trying to do. You're trying to protect your job, but regardless to what you do and come out and say on social media, get your facts right, lad, first, because I get it. You're trying to defend your new bosses that ultimately you may get fired anyway, but ultimately to say his movies never materialize. The Zack Snyder's Justice League was a world phenomenon. I get it. It is bad. The rumors going out. It is bad. But it's even worse when James Gunn keeps saying stuff without really saying stuff. He's like, I didn't say Margot Robbie was getting booted. Did I? No, I didn't say that. Throwing ideas out there about a new Batman, about a new Superman without giving any context to the whole story. Yeah, we don't need to know. We really don't need to know this stuff. Him shutting down that Green Lantern's getting a movie instead of a series on HBO Max. We don't need to know this. But at the same time, if you're going to keep shutting the stuff down, you've actually got to come out and say what the freaking hell you're on about. Not, this is all I could say till January. Well, lads and ladette over at DC Studios, just stop talking on Twitter because no one wants to know half truth. So most of these rumors will probably end up being true. But to come out and say Snyder tried to do it and it didn't materialize, guys. Well, I hate to tell you this. Every Zack Snyder movie made money. They didn't lose money. They made money. Birds of Prey, Shazam. Okay, Shazam. Okay, I can take that one out because that technically probably broke even. Birds of Prey, The Suicide Squad, lost money. So it's all right to come out and try and defend your new bosses. Yeah, I mean, if they're going to do a full reboot, sure, go ahead, do the full reboot. Because realistically, Wonder Woman first movie, banged. Second movie, came out at the wrong time. Tragic, really freaking bad storyline. A lot. But most of the movies with the Zack Snyder Justice League members, banged. Man of Steel 2 with Henry Cavill would have banged. Another Wonder Woman movie with better script team, better writing team, better production, better value, everything better behind it, it would have freaking banged because people love Gal as Wonder Woman. Ben Affleck, another movie, that would freaking bang. So I don't really understand the narrative here. You're trying to defend your bosses, which is cool, but at the same time, don't come out and be like, yo, it just didn't materialize. Well, Batman vs. Superman made money. Man of Steel made money. The Suicide Squad, David Ayer, made a hell of a lot more than it made over 500 million. It made $500 million more than James Gunn. And you can drop the pandemic line all you like. That's a little excuse because day and day release, Godzilla, 500 million, or just under $500 million. Yet Wonder Woman flopped. Yet the Suicide Squad flopped. And I went to the UK premiere and most cinemas in England, in fact, every cinema in central London was open. So this whole pandemic line is just a horse shite excuse, if you ask me. So yeah, I like Zachary Levi. I'm not attacking you, lad, but this is not a very cool thing to say before your Shazam 2 movie because there's no canon. So you can come out and say you don't know if your job's safe. You probably do. And if your job's safe, that is kind of like nepotism because if you're going to get rid of someone as great as Henry Cavill Superman, you're going to have to get rid of every single other person because no one comes close to his caliber for that role. Not even close. So like always, guys, let me know. Why did DC really fail? Was it because Zack wasn't attached to any project post Zack Snyder's Justice League. That could be the reason. It might not be the reason. I know exactly what's going to happen in the comment section. Some of you guys be like, yo, you're a freaking Snyderverse fanboy. No, I'm a DC fan. I will still be watching all the DC movies that come out next year, and I will still be supporting whatever the new DC universe actually is. I will still be supporting that. So it is what it is. And like always, guys, I will always bring you the latest and greatest Marvel, DC, Kaiju, Monsterverse, pop culture based news. So like always, guys, I will catch you in another video. But first, check us out on Instagram at What'sThew, check us out on Twitter, What'sThewG. And I will catch you in another video very soon. Catch you later.